Heaven and Earth, a short Dvar Torah for Parashat Vayeshev. Legend has it that when Rivkah Imenu received the news that one of her children would be righteous and the other wicked, she was asked why this prophecy reassured her. It's true that having a son that runs the houses of study makes for a happy parent, but what mother wants one of her sons to become an idol worshipper? A righteous son is excellent, Rivkah replied. I can even get along with the heretic, but a Mizrochnik, heaven forbid. My goal today is to check if indeed Rivkah was spared from this bitter fate. The discussion begins with what I believe is an interesting Rashi at the beginning of this week's Torah portion. On the verse, and I have oxen and donkeys and flocks and slaves and maidservants, Rashi says, your father said to me, from the dew of the heaven and the fat of the land, and this is neither from the heaven nor from the land. Rashi's words reminded me of the overview I had last week of Sefer Bereshit, explaining how the flocks move in Yaakov's story from the background to the foreground. What I did not do with the overview was address the question of why sheep, and this is a good opportunity to correct this. I'll start by saying that I understand that Rashi is not specifically referring to my question. I'm sharing my own thoughts that rose while I studied Rashi, so I'm not saying that this is what Rashi says. Second, there are many other interpretations I could have referred to that are closer to Pshat than what I'm about to say. What I like about what I'm saying this week is that it occurred to me while I was learning it and I enjoyed it immensely, hence the desire to share. That's it. I'm done apologizing. And speaking of apologizing, the interesting thing about Rashi is the apologetic tone with which Yaakov addresses Esav according to this commentary. Don't worry, Yaakov said. Father blessed me with heavenly and earthly success, but it didn't work. I'm in between, neither here nor there. Or in other words, mother's greatest fear has become reality. I am a shepherd, a ladder suspended between earth and heaven, a Mizrochnik. Truth be told, I think that when Yaakov reads Rashi, this scares him, and this is even echoed in the verses. And Yaakov was greatly afraid, and distress leads to action that, according to Rashi, represent gift, prayer, and war, and now seems to be a good time to bring some order into my rambling. When Yaakov leaves Vayeshev to go to Haran, he dreams a great dream. In front of him is a ladder connecting earth and heaven, upon which heavenly angels ascend and descend. When Yaakov wakes up from this dream, he takes a stone, an earthly representative, and turns it into an altar, a heavenly divine construction. He understands that this place, the land, is the gateway to heaven. Yaakov has found his purpose. He's a connecting ladder, but the heavenly angels are not yet using him to ascend and descend. Yaakov therefore understands that he has to strengthen the ladder, and from here until the end of Parashat Vayeshev, the Torah deals with strengthening said ladder before it can connect the material earth with the spiritual heavens. Yaakov herds sheep, and in Lavan's house this is very natural. In the diaspora, the soil is not God's home, nor the gateway to heaven. It's only earth. Working the land means nothing. It's ladder strengthening time. But at some point he gets a divine reminder. I am the Lord of Bet El, where you anointed a matzevah. It's time to use the ladder, not just strengthen it. When Yaakov returns to Canaan, he meets heavenly angels, and it seems things are back on track. The angels can now ascend and descend. Until preparations for the meeting with Esav begin, and Yaakov understands from Rashi that he does not serve as a connecting ladder between earth and heaven, but rather as a disconnected ladder dangling in space. Such a ladder is difficult to climb, even if you are a heavenly angel. This is where Yaakov makes a decision. He remains behind, wrestles with a man, and discovers that this is a divine confrontation. He calls the place Pnuel, since he saw God and lived to tell the tale. He touches the sky. He also buys a plot of land in Shechem, a field not used for grazing sheep but for growing crops. His feet are rooted in the earth. He even builds an altar there, thus connecting heaven and earth once again. He is the ladder. But touching heaven and earth leaves its mark on Yaakov and his family. After the encounter at Pnuel, he limps on his thigh, and his sons will no longer eat Gidanashe. In earthly Shechem, Dinah will be taken, and after Yaakov's son returned from the field and hear what happened to her, they will no longer return there. Being a ladder is difficult. Is this where it all ends? No, but it's where we end, at least for this week. Stay tuned. I might even continue this thought next week. In memory of my heroic and beloved student Amichai Shimon, son of Yishai and Batya Rubin Hashem Yikom Damo, Dovi Holtz, one who loves Mizrochnikim and Tanakh.